I didn't see it coming. I was swimming in the Great Barrier Reef, and then all of a sudden this shark shot out underneath me. It wasn't a great white shark, it was a small reef shark, but I didn't see it coming. Sometimes in life we just don't see something coming, do we? The prophet Jonah in the Bible didn't see it coming that his running from God would lead him directly into a storm, a stormy relationship with God. Perhaps he saw the clouds forming as he paid the fare to go to Tarshish. Perhaps he saw the sky grow dark as he boarded the ship. But then Jonah fell into a sleep. So it wasn't until he was woken by the sailors that he saw the storm tearing their ship apart. For Jonah, the storm came out of nowhere. He didn't see it coming. And Jonah also didn't see that his running from God would harm others as well. He didn't see it coming. And it's the same for us. Our drifting from God will bring us down, and it will bring others down around us too. And it was as Jonah realised the harm he was causing others that he was finally motivated to respond to God's stormy reminder of his sin. The Bible says, the sea was getting rougher and rougher. So they asked him, "What should we do to you to make the sea calm down for us?" "Pick me up and throw me into the sea," he replied, "and it will become calm. I know that it is my fault that this great storm has come upon you." As Jonah saw the potential harm he was causing others on the ship, he knew he needed to respond with a step of faith. Eventually, the sailors reluctantly agreed to do what Jonah had told them to do. They took Jonah and threw him overboard. But this step of faith that Jonah needed to make was a fearful one, wasn't it? And perhaps as you think about the step of faith that you need to take at this moment in your life, it fills you with fear. Perhaps you need to make that step of faith to become a Christian, and it fills you with fear. Perhaps as you think about a calling God has on your life, you are filled with fear. Perhaps you need to be obedient in an area of your life where you've been running from God, and you are filled with fear. Well, if you're filled with fear, remember Jonah. The Bible says, "Then they took Jonah and threw him overboard, and the raging sea grew calm." At this the men greatly feared the Lord, and they offered a sacrifice to the Lord and made vows to him. When Jonah took his step of faith, God turned the storm into a place of peace, and God turned the sailors' worship away from the false gods and towards the true and living God. When we take a step of faith, God will bring a peace into our lives that is beyond understanding, and he'll bring blessing into our lives and into the lives of those around us. But let me say one more thing. When we take steps of faith, sometimes things appear to get worse. The Bible says this, "The Lord provided a huge fish to swallow Jonah." Imagine being Jonah. You take that step of faith and then you go from one problem to another problem. Well, remember this. If you think you need a God who only works in the good situations of life, you're gonna need a bigger God, because bad situations will come our way. What we need is the true and living God, the God who can work in the bad situations to use them for good. Think about the darkest moment in mankind's history, when mankind crucified the Son of God on the cross. Yet in this bad moment in history, God was working his good plan to save mankind from their sin. God came into this world as a man to take the punishment for our sin on the cross, so we could be forgiven and given new life. God works for good even in bad situations. We see this on the cross of Jesus. We see this in the life of Jonah, and we can see this too in our lives when we take steps of faith. The Bible says, "We know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him." When you read the whole of the book of Jonah, you discover that God uses Jonah's bad situations for his good and others' good, even the bad situations caused by the mess and muddle of our lives. So as we all face the next step of faith that we know we must take, let us not be hindered by our fears, but let's step out in faith. The Bible says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight." Whoa, go and find it quick, Jonah.